The theater was loud before he ever stepped onto the stage, not with cheers, but with the restless hum of an audience that had seen it all. Bright lights swept across faces filled with expectation, skepticism, and mild boredom, the kind that settles in after hours of performances that blur together. Then, quietly, a Filipino boy walked out from the wings. He wasn't tall. He wasn't dressed to impress. His clothes looked worn, like they had lived a life before ever reaching this moment. His shoulders were slightly hunched, not from weakness, but from a lifetime of carrying things too heavy for someone his age: poverty, responsibility, silence. He clutched a guitar that looked almost too big for him, its surface scratched and faded, yet carefully cleaned, as if it were the most precious thing he owned. Some in the crowd smiled politely. Others exchanged glances that said, "Here we go again." No one, not a single person in that room, was ready for what was about to happen. When he reached the center of the stage, the lights softened, and for a brief second, the entire auditorium seemed to hold its breath. The boy looked out, eyes scanning the sea of strangers, and in that moment, you could see it: fear, hope, and determination colliding in his chest. He didn't speak much, just his name, just his country, and then he said the song choice: Hotel California. A ripple of surprise ran through the audience. Some eyebrows rose. A few quiet chuckles escaped. That song was legendary, complex, iconic, unforgiving. Even seasoned musicians feared it. The judges leaned back, uncertain. The band exchanged looks. The room filled with doubt. And yet, the boy closed his eyes, took one slow breath, and began. The first notes were soft, almost fragile. His fingers moved across the strings with a gentleness that felt intentional, as if he were speaking a secret rather than performing a song. The opening guitar line floated through the air, clean and haunting, instantly recognizable, yet somehow new. Conversation stopped. Phones lowered. The casual noise dissolved into silence. His voice entered next, low, steady, and textured with something that couldn't be taught. It wasn't just pitch or tone, it was life. Every word carried weight, shaped by nights without electricity, by dreams whispered in the dark, by songs learned not from lessons, but from survival. When he sang on a dark desert highway, it didn't feel like lyrics, it felt like memory. The judges leaned forward now. One of them blinked slowly, as if trying to process what they were hearing. The boy didn't rush. He let the song breathe, letting silence work between the notes, trusting the audience to come with him. And they did. His accent didn't weaken the song, it deepened it, giving it a global soul that felt raw and honest. As the melody unfolded, the atmosphere changed completely. The stage lights seemed warmer, the air heavier. People shifted in their seats, chills crawling up their arms. This wasn't a cover. This was a confession. You could hear the room reacting, not with sound, but with stillness. Every eye was locked on him now. Every heart was listening. Somewhere between the verses, the doubt disappeared entirely. This wasn't a boy trying to sing a classic. This was an artist reclaiming it, making it his own, and telling the world, "I am here." As the song built, so did the emotion. His voice grew stronger, fuller, yet never lost its vulnerability. He navigated the song's shifting dynamics with astonishing control, hitting difficult transitions with ease that belied his age. When he reached the chorus, the impact was undeniable. The words echoed through the hall, and something invisible cracked open in the audience. A woman in the front row wiped her eyes. A man several rows back sat frozen, mouth slightly open. One of the judges pressed their lips together, nodding slowly, as if acknowledging something profound. The boy's guitar work became more confident now, each note ringing with clarity, each strum purposeful. He wasn't showing off. He was telling a story. And then came the instrumental break, the part musicians fear most. His fingers danced across the fretboard, not aggressively, but with soul, bending notes just enough to make them ache. It was imperfect in the most perfect way, filled with feeling rather than flash. The crowd felt it deep in their chests. Time seemed to stretch. The outside world disappeared. There was only this boy, this guitar, and this song that had somehow become a bridge between his life and theirs. You could feel the collective realization settling in. We are witnessing something rare. Not just talent, but truth. When he sang about being unable to leave, the metaphor felt painfully clear. This was a boy trapped by circumstance, by poverty, by expectation, yet standing here, breaking free through music. And as his voice soared into the final chorus, the chills became undeniable. Goosebumps rippled across arms. Hearts raced. Some people forgot to breathe. By the time he reached the final notes, the room was trembling, not with noise, but with emotion barely held back. His voice softened again, returning to that fragile intimacy from the beginning, as if completing a circle. The last chord rang out, lingering in the air like a question no one wanted answered. The boy lowered his guitar slightly, eyes still closed, as if afraid to look up and see disappointment. For one heartbeat, there was silence. Absolute, sacred silence. Then it happened. Applause erupted, not polite clapping, not measured approval, but a roar. People leapt to their feet. Cheers thundered through the hall. Some screamed his name. Others simply cried. The judges stood, stunned, hands clapping almost automatically, faces marked with disbelief. One of them shook their head slowly, smiling in awe. Another wiped at their eyes, openly emotional. The boy opened his eyes now, startled by the reaction. His lips trembled. He looked overwhelmed, like someone who had just woken up inside a dream they never thought they deserved. The applause didn't fade. It grew louder, longer, more intense. This wasn't just appreciation. It was recognition. Recognition of pain transformed into beauty, of struggle turned into sound, of a child who had walked onto the stage unnoticed and was now impossible to ignore. Cameras zoomed in, capturing tears, smiles, shaking hands. The boy bowed his head slightly, gripping his guitar tighter, as if it were the only thing keeping him grounded. In that moment, the world shifted for him, and everyone in that room knew it. When the judges finally spoke, their words felt almost unnecessary. What could possibly add to what had just been felt? One judge leaned toward the microphone, voice softer than usual, and admitted they had underestimated him the moment he walked out. Another said they had heard Hotel California thousands of times, but never like this, never with such honesty, never with such heart. They didn't talk about technique first. They talked about feeling, about how his performance reminded them why music mattered in the first place. The boy listened quietly, nodding, eyes still glossy with emotion. He didn't interrupt. He didn't boast. When asked how he learned to sing like that, his answer was simple. He sang to escape. He sang to forget hunger, to forget darkness, to imagine a different life. The audience responded with another wave of applause, this time filled with something deeper, respect. That clip would later spread across the internet like wildfire. Millions would watch it on their phones, in their bedrooms, on crowded buses, feeling the same chills. Comments would flood in from every corner of the world. People saying they cried. People saying they believed again. Musicians would analyze it. Fans would replay it. But no replay could ever fully capture what it felt like to be there, to feel the air change, to feel doubt turn into awe in real time. That performance became more than a moment. It became a symbol. Long after the lights dimmed and the crowd went home, the echo of that song remained. For the boy, life would never be the same, but not because of fame alone. It was because, for the first time, the world had listened. A song written decades ago, thousands of miles away, had become his voice, his story, his key. He had walked onto the stage as just another contestant, and walked off as proof that greatness can come from anywhere, even from the quiet corners of the world people rarely look at. That night, Hotel California wasn't about a place you couldn't leave. It was about a boy who finally found a way out. And for everyone who watched, live or through a screen, it sent chills that lingered long after the final note, reminding them that sometimes the most powerful performances don't just entertain you. They change you. Snowflake musical notes.